This is Matt Buckman coming at you from Antigua. I've got my margarita here, but this is not why I'm here. I'm here to tell you about the new Sony a7s. I just acquired these cameras last week. I shot my first wedding with them in Chicago on Saturday, and I was a little skeptical at first, but then we brought them down here to Antigua, and I've been shooting with them for the last 3 days, putting them through their paces, and I have fallen in love with the camera. Between the dynamic range, the astounding low light capabilities, being able to switch between full frame and cropped, having focus peaking, zebra stripes, punch in while recording, all these features just make this an amazing, amazing camera. And I'm coming from the Canon 1DC. I, crazily enough, sold it and got these guys, and I don't regret it one bit. These are fantastic little cameras. Now, they aren't without their flaws. You do have to use adapters, which I really haven't had any major problems with, nothing that's hurt a shoot, but using adapters is not ideal. The screen lacks sharpness. I do not like the screen very much, but it does tilt, which is great. And even though it's not the sharpest screen in the world, I have gotten used to it, and the fact that you have focus peaking and punch in while recording helps tremendously. So I've gotten used to the screen, and it's no longer a bother to me. You do need lots of batteries. The batteries are very small, so make sure you have plenty, because it'll go through them pretty quick. Right now I don't have the battery grip. I did order it, and I'm waiting for them to arrive. But that'll make it a little less small, which will be good, because right now it's almost so small it's hard to really get a good grip. The record button is in an odd place, but I've gotten used to that. But it is small. I wish it was just a little bigger maybe. But besides any of those little hang-ups, the pros of the camera far outweigh any of the cons. And I even set up this shot like this. You might think, why would you set up a shot like that? That's crazy. Because I am in shadow. Everything behind me is in bright sunshine. But I wanted to shoot this in the S-Log and see just how well this camera could handle this image. And I think it's going to do pretty good. Or it might look like crap. I honestly don't know. But I have faith in this camera, and I think you're going to be able to see me, and you're going to be able to see the background, and that will be extremely impressive. Now here's some picture profiles that are built into the camera. I also included neutral, but you can see there's a lot of different looks the camera can achieve. Some of the profiles I had already tweaked a little bit. Here are skin tones outside bathed in sunlight. I was a bit overexposed, but I was shooting myself, and when you do that, sometimes you make exposure mistakes like that. I apologize. But you can see some of the profiles save more of those highlights than others. Here's a sidewalk bathed in sunshine and a sidewalk in shadow. You can see some of the profiles save more of that information on the bright part of the sidewalk than others, especially the S-Log. Here I am indoors. Again, we're looking at skin tones. I probably should have shot this a little bit cooler. I was at 3200, but when you're shooting by yourself, sometimes you make these mistakes. Coming up here, you're going to see James Miller, one of his custom profiles, and I really love it. You can see it compared to one of the built-ins, and now here's James Miller's, and there's something about it that just really speaks to me. Something in my eyes just looks marvelous. I also get internal time-lapse, which is awesome. There's a little app world inside here. You connect to Wi-Fi and you can go see what kind of apps they have available. My favorite is the time-lapse app. It can even assemble the clips into a movie in camera. You can also have them exported as stills, so then you can still play around with zooming and cropping and whatnot in post. Now here we're going to look at the sharpness of the cameras. Here's the Mark III and here's the Sony a7s. When you zoom in, you can see the a7s is clearly much sharper, and even after applying some sharpening in post to the Mark III, it still does not compare to the sharpness of the a7s. Now we're going to take a look at some ISOs. You can see it cleans up pretty well with neat video. Here's at 25,600 ISO. Not bad noise for that high of an ISO, and with neat video you can get rid of a lot of it. even at 64,000 ISO, that noise is not bad for that high of an ISO, and it still cleans up relatively well. Now here's some images I filmed while on property. Most of these I filmed in James Miller's custom profile. I really like the way this profile, it has some flatness to it, but it's not so terribly flat that I have to do a ton to it in post. But I really like his profile. Here we're going to go back to that wide image and we're going to look at dynamic range. You can see with the Sony a7s, you can still really see a lot of the information in the shadows, especially compared to the 5D, which crushes the shadows. But with the Sony, you really can see a lot of the detail in both shadows and sunlight. The dynamic range is really impressive on these cameras. After posting the video, a few requests came my way to add a few tests to the video, so that's what I've done. You're going to see an ISO test, the 5D Mark III versus the Sony a7s. You'll see what the noise looks like at various ISOs. I'm also going to show you at super high ISOs on the a7s what the different picture profiles do to the noise. Is the noise cleaner in some picture profiles than the other? You'll be able to see that. And finally, I do a slow motion test, and I think you're going to be super impressed with the sharpness of the slow motion footage. Even at 120 frames per second, it was amazingly sharp, so enjoy. Here at 25,600, you can really see the difference. Zoomed in, you see it even more apparently. Now we're going to look at the different picture profiles and how that affects the noise going on in the a7s. Now we're going to take a look at slow motion. Here's slow motion out of the 5D, obviously scaled up for 1080. Here's slow motion in 1080 on the a7s. It's much sharper, you can see here. Side by side, you can see there's much more sharpness to the a7s because it's recording in 1080, not 720. But even here, when we're doing the 120 frames per second at 720, it still seems extremely sharp. Here's the 5D Mark III being on the right. I'll catch you on the flip side, peeps.